Today guys, I want to talk about the best echo sets and weathering waves that you can be farming, maybe some methods to farm them faster, because there have been ways found to manipulate the RNG of what you're actually getting with these echo sets. What's the best 4-star echo you should be getting, everything like that in today's video guys, because I do think there are 2 echo sets that stand above the rest and just general use and things you can use on every single character, and then we'll be talking about what the other echo sets would be good for, right? So let's go ahead and hop into it now guys. Starting off first guys with this set right here, the Lingering Tune set. The reason why this set is so good is because first of all, it gives you an attack boost at a 2-piece, and then at a 5-piece is going to be giving you stacking attack boost as well. That it stacks up every 1.5 seconds for 4 stacks. So you're getting 20% free attack, and then also your outro skill damage is getting increased by 60% as well. The reason why this set is so good is because it is a fairly universal set. Every character in the game can use this ability. Why? Because it gives attack, right? Attack is kind of weird to get in this game. It's like not the worst thing to get, right? Obviously crit rate, crit damage is superior, even damage percentage is superior. So if we look at something like Sierra Gale, right, we're just giving arrow damage and then arrow damage again after releasing an intro skill, that's just gonna be 15 seconds after releasing an intro skill. And to be fair, you'll probably be swapping out to actually get there, but the big thing with this is it gives a 60% increase to outro skill damage, and you know if you're using a DPS, they are normally not going to be buffing the next person coming into battle. Don't mind my unleveled up 5-star characters guys, I just got really lucky and I haven't had a chance to level them up nor the resources to. Anyways, let's talk about Mr. Lin Yang first here, just looking at what his outro skill is going to be guys. He releases a shockwave on the enemy target, bam, that's damage right there, right? Let's look at someone else like Mr. Lin Yang right here, right? Outro skill right here, he's going to be launching an arrow attack, it lasts for 8 seconds. Yeah, he does another attack there as well, very cool, very nice there. Let's look at someone like maybe Calchara, right? Calchara, what is his outro skill? Oh, what do you guess? He summons a stand on the field and he does damage to the enemy, which is considered outro skill damage. So every single one of these characters literally will get benefit from the outro skill, which allows them a little bit more damage when leaving the field. Also, I need to mention one other thing with this set as well. The big boy you actually farm and get from this is this guy right here, the Mech Abomination. What's good about farming him as well, not only of what he actually does, right, which we'll talk about that in a second, whenever you farm his boss materials, you're going to get these little drops right here, which if you plan on pulling for Yenlin, you actually need these regardless. So that's going to be good overall to farm, but let's take a look and see what he actually is going to be doing. Don't mind the bad rolls here, gamers. I tried leveling this up and it rolled like dog shit. Anyways, also that's overlapping. They need to fix that, and I want compensation as well. Thanks. I'm just joking. But anyways, guys, what this is going to be doing is basically you're going to be putting him on the field. He's going to be doing a massive AoE damaging attack that's going to be hitting a massive explosion, right? It does a huge AoE attack, and the big thing with this is this counts as outro skill damage. All the damage that blood does here counts as outro skill damage, so he's getting a 60% bonus to that damage as well. And one major thing you want to be doing in the in-game is you want echoes that can hot swap. So basically you hit the echo and then swap, and basically while your other character's attacking on the field, that echo is still doing in work and putting in work to actually damage the enemy. That's why if we look at my Mr. Lin Yang right now, I do have this, this lamp man equipped right now. The bad thing about him is you have to manually hit the key 3 times in a row to actually get him to proc off and do his full damage. So that's really not the best when trying to hot swap out of characters, right? So with a character like this right here, the Abomination, you hit it and swap out of the character, and while your other character's fighting, gaining your ult and gaining their concerto, this thing is still putting in work on top of that, guys. This is going to be increasing the attack of that next character as well. So say you were using this on a team with, let's say, Yenlin and Calchara, right? You put this on Calchara, you swap Alpha Calchara, he's going to be giving that damage buff to Miss Yenlin, which in turn gives her more damage to put out, and then maybe you put this on her, swap back to Calchara or something like that, and then you just get infinite attack buffs basically. So that's really cool. But if you guys don't know how the swapping works, let me show you how the swapping actually works really quick and why it's actually so important. So really quickly guys, I'm going to show you what the swapping skill looks like. So we're going to swap in here. You see it only does 1 attack on the ground there, right, which is not optimal because that's not the full damage that thing can do. You need to hit 3 times so you're getting a maximum damage out from that. Now let me show you something that can get maximum damage, or a decent chunk of its damage from its actual skill. So let's go ahead and pop this here, and then look, slam on the ground, a huge amount of damage there, and we get to our Lin Yang here as well, and then he's just putting in the work with that extra attack damage that he's already getting as well. So that's why this is just a really good option. Oh, it's not golden. I'll give you a little demonstration with this guy that we're talking about now that you can farm up right now. So we're gonna go ahead and pop him off. Look, he's already went down. He already exploded. He just did the full explosion there. He literally got the full amount of damage out out that he could possibly get out just from existing, right? So say you're about to swap off of your main DPS character, and then you just literally, what you would do was you would swap off your main DPS character while using that, right? So you could even make sure they have the outro skill ready or their concerto skill ready. You swap out, you get the maximum damage out from the echo, meaning your echo in general, or your character's DPS in general, is going up because you're getting the extra outro skill damage already added on to what your main DPS is going to do, and then you add that damage on top of that. That's why this is super important, and honestly, echo canceling in general is just super important. That just happens to be one of the strongest ones in the game right now. Maybe they do some tweaks, maybe they change some things around, I don't know. But let's go ahead and talk about the second best set in the game. This is going to be more so for supports though, and healers I guess too. And this is going to be kind of a hot take. I don't think that you should be running Rejuvenating Glow or the healer set on your healers. Don't get me wrong, guys, it's giving you a healing buff and it's giving an attack buff to the whole party, right? I much prefer Moonlit Clouds. The reason why I prefer Moonlit Clouds here, guys, is because Moonlit Clouds, first of all, has two 4-star echoes on it. First of all, it has the Heron on it, and second of all, it has the big Taurus on it. We'll talk about what they do in a second here, but I'm going to really talk about the set bonus here. The set bonus at a 2P gives you energy regen, right? So even alone, right, you could literally swap this off and have a 2-piece healing and 2-piece of this, have energy regen, have extra healing, right? But where I think this is going to become the most clutch at is actually the 5-piece set of this, because whenever you're using an atro skill, the next resonator to come to the field is going to be getting a 22.5% buff for 15 seconds. Now, you might say, oh, but you get 15% damage for the whole party whenever you heal, right? And I guess, yes, if you're running a team that's running like one dedicated support that really doesn't do much damage, one dedicated healer that doesn't do much damage, then sure, this set might be better for them. But if we take a look at something like this, right? Say you're running a team with 2 DPS, right? Or 2 sub DPS, right? But the thing here is Sanhua, right? Sanhua actually can put out some pretty decent amount of damage while gaining a considerable amount of concerto as well. So what you could do is run both of these on Moonlit Clouds. You have her getting a big dick damage bonus just from having the Moonlit Clouds on your Bizy, swapping into her, getting that little bit of a damage bonus, her getting her concerto really, really fast, swapping over to Mr. Lin Yang here, and then popping off as well. Right now, I guess you could say you get that Mr. Lin Yang gets a little bit more damage, but let's be honest, energy regen can come in clutch, especially in teams where you're not using a healer, right? And it's also just one less set that you have to farm. If you're just focusing on farming Moonlit Clouds, you don't have much time in your day to go farm through everything. I just think it's more beneficial to have more Moonlit Clouds, because your support characters itself, like these characters right here, your sub DPS hybrid characters, are not going to be using this healing set right here. So if you just farm up enough of these, you can technically put them on both of them. And honestly, I see the in-game not even really using healers that much. If you get really good at dodging, you really aren't going to need healing, meaning you're going to have a set that is absolutely useless, because if you're not using a healer on the team, this is a very niche set just to healers, right? So if you're not doing any healing, you're not getting the attack bonus off, meaning if you're running a full support team with your Mr. Lin Yang or whoever your DPS is, like as an example of that, this is my second team that I use here is Jian, Mortefi, and then also Yang Yang as well. I don't have a heal in this team, meaning I don't get that buff at all, but if I run double Moonlit Clouds on both of these guys here, this means that they're getting their energy regen up faster, which inherently will get the concerto up faster, which inherently allows me to swap into Mr. Jian here, swapping off of Yang Yang to Jian. After swapping to Jian, he's getting the attack bonus. He's also getting the big ultimate boost as well, as far as like the energy he's getting for it. Then you swap to Mortefi, right? Mortefi's getting the extra energy regen, which makes him even faster in synergizing. He's already really fast of getting on and off the field anyways. He's one of the fastest in the game at it. And then being able to swap back to him, and then bam, you're just doing another massive amount of damage, right? So you're always getting a pretty big buff if you're swapping correctly, right? So like I said in this example, you swap from Yang Yang to Jian and get the energy there, right? Then you swap from Jian to Mortefi, which if Jian is using the other set as well, you're doing that huge outro damage explosion while giving him some extra damage that he can deal. He's kind of a hybrid character, so he's kind of doing sub DPS levels of damage here. Then from here, you have the lingering clouds on him, then you swap back over to here, because he'll be getting his ult up fast. You're giving him the re-amplified damage buff or the re-amplified attack buff, which is just going to play really nicely. But now let's go ahead and talk about the two main echoes that are on this set overall, right? First, guys, I want to talk about the Heron. The reason why I like the Heron so much is because of the fact that you can echo cancel them, meaning you can get them on the field and actually deal damage with one of your sub DPS characters, right, while bringing in your other DPS to really start putting in the work. And one of the big things here is once the initial attack lands on the enemy, the current character is going to be regaining 10 resonance energy, right? Now, one thing I will say about the second part of the ability that they do, I think it's bugged, because it says once the initial attack lands on any enemy, the current character will get 10 resonance energy, which means it should be proccing off the 10 extra energy to whoever the on-field DPS is, but it doesn't seem like it works like that, because it says the current character. Current character to me seems like the character that's out in the field. It always gives the energy to the actual user of this. Now, maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but it seems like that should be the case, right? I don't know at all that I'm wrong by this, because it would be really strong if this were able to actually give the 10 resonance energy to the DPS that's coming out to the field. And then on top of that, you're able to get that outro skill damage within the next 15 seconds, which could be really beneficial, especially if, like I said before, you're using that attack set on your DPS character, this one right here, because that means they're going to be having even more outro skill damage to actually do now. And you're normally swapping out of your characters within 15 seconds anyways. Depends on the lineup though. Most of the time it is within 15 seconds that you're swapping out. That's why the 15-second marker is so nice to have. And then also running something like Bellborn here as well, this big old dinosaur turtle with the bell on its back. This could be useful. I like the Heron a little bit more, but this does definitely have its pros, right? Because what it's going to be doing is it puts a shield on you, it gives a 50% damage reduction, and on top of that it gives a 10% damage bonus to the whole team, and it will be disappearing after 3 hits, right? But this does last for 15 seconds, so normally you want to mix this into the mix of like putting it on the character that's coming out into the field. You can sometimes get away with, like, you know, if you have a really fast, speedy hybrid character that can get in and out really quick, then this shield will still apply. You would still be getting that damage reduction, and on top of that, you'll also be getting that damage bonus as well. Overall, I do like the Heron a little bit more than this one, but yeah, guys, like I said, those are the two most underrated sets in the game. I think those are the two sets you'd be farming for. Both of them are super universal. I think both of them can literally be used on anyone. The attack one for all of your DPS characters, the Moonlit Clouds for all of your supports and your hybrids if you wanted to. And then one more thing I wanted to mention here is about how to get them right. There is a way to actually manipulate the echoes that you get. I've saw a couple videos about this. If you haven't known about it already, basically what the rule is, guys, is you can go and fight 2 boss enemies. What I mean by boss enemies are enemies like this, right? They have a 50-50 drop rate, right? There's a 2 pity on them though. So think of it like doing your pulls, right? You fight one, it doesn't drop. The next boss you're going to fight will guaranteed drop you a boss drop, right, or a boss echo, right? So if you're farming these, right, so maybe you go to the Mech Abomination, right, say it doesn't drop. You want to wait for him to respawn and then fight him again because you'll guarantee to get him the next time, right? But say you're fighting him, it does drop. Let's say you go over here, guys, and fight the Lamprey over here, right? If you fight the Lamprey, it doesn't drop, then you go back to the mech, he'll have a guaranteed drop, right? Same thing can be said for elite enemies as well. Those are the ones with the bigger health bars and like have the shield on them as well. Even like this thing down here, this what is this thing? This mech thing right here. You get them 1 in every 4 drops. So that means if you get an echo, you can go fight 3 of these bad boys, and the 4th one will be a guaranteed. So just use that to your advantage when you're farming, guys. Make sure you're using the data bank to actually track the echoes you want, because you can track them in set. You can go to this thing right here, go, hey, I want to fight this thing right here so I can get a cool echo that will help me out in my adventures. It does have a guaranteed rate for the 1 stars as well. I'm just not sure what that is right now, but that's about all the info that I can bring you to you guys today. Make sure you're farming for Lingering Tunes, and also make sure you're farming for Moonlit Clouds as well. Both of these will come in absolute clutch for you. Anyways, gamers, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this little echo. I know it's not a full in-depth echo guide. I just want to talk about the 2 echo sets in the game right now that really no one's talking about, that I see anyways. Maybe I'm coping out with that. I see most people using like, oh, they're Electro, run the Electro. Oh, they're freezing, Mr. Ling Yang, run the freezing set. Well, I think the freezing set's nice. It just has its caveats as well. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it. See you guys later. Bye.